So this right here is the two-piece Santoku gift set by Global. It includes the G48 Santoku knife and the GS38 paring knife. The GS38 is 9 centimeters long. Let me just get you a quick little view of that. And the G48 right here with the scalloped edges, the hollow ground edges, is 18 centimeters. So these two give you a good amount of ability to pretty much cut anything in the kitchen. I would say it'll let you do 80%, 90% of what you're going to need to do in a kitchen. Obviously, a Santoku knife is essentially a Japanese chef's knife, and I actually prefer Santoku knives just because of the way the belly is and because of the way they cut. They're phenomenal for mincing, for chopping, and for dicing especially. And with the hollow ground edges, it makes sure that nothing sticks. So if you've ever been cutting and cutting and cutting, and all of a sudden you realize nothing's falling over on the cutting board, so you do this little thing and just a bunch of stuff is stuck, that's what these little hollow ground edges are going to stop from happening. The second quick note is that a paring knife is not meant to cut on a cutting board. It's meant to hold in your hand like this and feed food into, and essentially peel things or break things down into smaller pieces. So that's the second note about this little guy. Now on to exactly what Global knives are. Global knives are essentially one of the first real sort of international Japanese style cooking knives. They are still made in Japan, and they obviously have a very, very unique design that makes them stand out from across the room. They're fully stainless steel, and a quick note is the handles are actually hollow and filled with sand, and they look like they're part of the blade, but in fact they're welded on, and then the whole thing is then ground down and polished up nicely. So that's one of the reasons that some people say they have such good weight to them, is because they're actually designed for that. They put enough sand in there to get the right feel, and they close it off. So they're actually very, very nice. Here are my thoughts on them. Quick note is that a lot of other Asian and Japanese brands have very, very hard metals. They use VG10 or VG Max or SG2, which range from 60 to 63 on the hardness scale. Global uses Chromova 18 stainless steel, which is only about a 56 to 58 on the hardness scale. It's much, much, much softer. And on top of that, it has an 18-degree cutting angle, which is in line with other Asian knives. The end result is that this knife's edge wears down a little bit faster than other knives do, just because it is a softer metal. So as you're using it and as you're cutting with it, it's sort of being mashed and mashed and mashed and bent, just like all knives, but it gets a little bent faster because it is softer metal. The flip side of that is that because it's softer metal, it has much, much, much less chance of chipping and cracking and things like that, like with higher end Japanese knives. So you have more of an ability to mess with them and to treat them like crap and to sort of abuse them a little bit. I think you really shouldn't be abusing knives in the first place, but that's just something to consider. The second interesting note is that the way they actually grind this down is from almost 1.5 centimeters above the final point, which means that at the end of the day, you're getting this sort of convex point, which they say is better for sharpness, but what I do know is that it's much, much harder to sharpen this, and if you do decide to actually get it sharpened, which you're going to have to do more often because of the softer metal, they'll never be able to get this same edge on it, because when you're actually sharpening things normally, you're putting it down, you're pressing against a whetstone, and just going back and forth. You're not like rolling it over and over to get this weird little curve to the blade. So that's another thing to consider. All in all, it has a lifetime warranty. It's a beautiful set of knives. The knives are great. They're very, very sharp. Obviously, all different knives have pros and cons. So I'll put a link down to this below. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you very soon.